This watermark right here is a sign of my financial freedom and my greed to pay $5 to the developers, so I'd rather have some stuff written on my face and lag from time to time. Now to the main topic. The way they dropped the new trailer was really unexpected, to say the least. I actually learned about this from Twitter. It was the first time I learned anything useful from Twitter when the writer for the Metro series, Dmitry Glukovsky, tweeted like, "This trailer and this game are gonna be the darkest things you've ever witnessed in the gaming industry." I actually forgot about the existence of Metro because everybody's too excited about GTA 6 because it's coming out in like half a year or less, confirmed. And I just realized, even myself, like I don't pay that much attention to other games. When you're too focused on a GTA release, you might just miss some things. And most importantly, like we'll get to it later, but the narratives that we are seeing in the new trailer are really, really huge. Because this is the first Metro to be developed during the war. And I feel like this is personal. This is personal for everybody who worked on this stuff. This Metro game will be darker than anything you've seen before. Which raises the bar quite a bit because Metro is the darkest game that there is out there. It's hardcore depressing. If you want to mix the dark vibes of Metro with some dystopian Russian story at the time of a really depressing war, I have no clue what it's gonna be. And just another tweet, the story of Metro 2039 is one that I long wanted to tell, but it had to wait for the reality to catch up. So now it doesn't seem to be a dystopia or science fiction anymore. Now it is relevant to everyone. And this is true because the entertainment, the movies, the stories, the science fiction, they love to rely on the image of the Soviet Union. They usually fall back into the past century, and Metro is about the modern day Russia. Yeah, it's sort of post-apocalyptic, but it still is based on the modern day narratives on how Russia used to look today before all this stuff happened. And this is incredibly exciting to watch how the entire story would be pictured, because a lot of folks in Russia are gonna play this, like millions, perhaps even tens of millions. Imagine it was North Korea, but in North Korea everybody would have a PC and play like 2 or 3 games, and you can produce one of these games and show it to everybody to change their opinion or to influence their opinion. This is exactly what's going on here, and this is why it's huge once again. Another concern that I have right before we watch the trailer, I'm pretty sure the game is gonna get banned in Russia right away, so the studio is most likely aware they're gonna lose a lot of cash, and the thing is going to be distributed through torrents. But this is generally like a global product, so it doesn't really matter. And the entire story and the entire game is going to be made by partially Ukrainians and partially Russians who hate the Putin's regime and love beautiful.
The darkness and become a pure nation.
From the first line, you get the point.
Wake up and open the door for the Novorite.
I actually laughed my ass off because when I first heard the words Novorite, you have no clue how big of a meme this is. It's like they're not even trying to hide the fact the narratives are about the modern day in Russia and all the shit that they're doing. It's like they're straight up saying, this is the parallel. We're not even gonna change a word. The occupied territories that Russia captures are virtually called Novorossiya, and this is where the novel part comes from. And then instead of the Russia, which is Russia, they just put Reich to possibly, maybe, perhaps reference the Third Reich.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
And the trailer is scary. It's scarier than Resident Evil. It's like really dark and really creepy, and you get those goosebumps. And if you're Russian or you're Ukrainian or whatever, your feelings are multiplied by like 10 or 20x.
Wake up to a pure nation. Clean air. Bright future.
The propaganda points that they're using, they're exact same as what Russia is doing. The entire game is simply inspired by the modern day Russia. I'm pretty sure there's zero creativity. And there's plenty of that Death Stranding vibe, some Hideo Kojima feel to the entire thing. It really hits quite deep, and I like the idea of games shifting towards a bigger piece of art. And this is actually slightly weird to see the guards dressed as the Third Reich soldiers. It might get slightly boring, like we've seen this in Wolfenstein, we've seen this all over the place, so they could actually get inspired by the Russian uniform. But this is just the first cinematic trailer, so we might see plenty of changes. And this is where it gets even more interesting because when you see the children locked in the train and the train departs, some could call it a reference to the concentration camps, Germany, etc. But no, it's entirely different story. This is the reference to the children that were departed from the occupied territories of Ukraine, and the most important humanitarian tracks, besides the prisoner exchanges and humanitarian aid, is actually returning the children home, because plenty of them were simply taken away and just spread across Russia, right? So as a kid, you could end up without parents and find yourself like 1,000 miles away in a different country where they're trying to teach you a completely new world perspective. And this actually hits deep. This is dramatic as hell, but this hits. And this is huge. The Red Square lighting up in flames, in explosions. Not the Second World War, not the First World War Red Square, right? This is simply too deep. This might be the first piece of entertainment, I'm not sure if it's even proper to call it this way, like a AAA project about the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the state of things in Russia that we're witnessing. And this is actually another reference to the alternative to Hitlerjugend in Russia, where they bring all the kids together to train them some military stuff and straight up explain who the enemy is and all of those things. And this is the point you realize how screwed things are, because I'm watching a trailer of a hardcore dark dystopian game that is simply copied from the modern day country which my country is fighting against. Another point I just realized, by the setting, Metro is sort of post-war, so it's post-apocalyptic, but it's sort of post-nuclear war and stuff. And all the things that you'll be seeing in the scenes and around you is probably just destroyed cities, just destroyed, smashed pieces of buildings, which is another key point about the war, because we've seen all the footages of Ukrainian cities simply getting wiped, like they cease to exist. Everything that's left is just a few columns and the bricks.
Bright future. The novel Reich.
The shot goes up and you see the destroyed Red Square, which is likely the analogy to now the Red Square getting physically destroyed, but the country as such. And here comes a bit of a gameplay. This hits different. This is exactly what half the Ukraine looks like right now. And with higher quality graphics and this level of detail. This is the most awful creature I've seen in my entire life. They did not really have to make it this awful. This is actually disgusting. I feel like whoever designed the 3D model was just drunk or high. Coming this winter. But this is just the first cinematic trailer and the first announcement, so it might well get rescheduled. But if this actually comes out this winter, right after GTA 6, this is gonna be the wildest season for the AAA titles. And by the way, if you care about finding great music to play, you should check out my alt rock drops. The link is right below.